Shalom, this video is about the Torah basis for the responsibility we have in the diaspora to help support and sustain the state of Israel. First of all, the entire Torah is a Zionist book, if you think about it. It starts with the pledge of God to Abraham that your descendants will be slaves in Egypt for 400 years, and I'll take them out and bring them to the land of Israel. That's essentially the whole story of the Torah. And then the rest of the Bible is pretty much a story, a lot of it, of them trying to conquer the land of Israel and staying in the land of Israel and holding on and fighting off enemies. It's a Zionist document, establishing without any possible refutation, unless you're lying, like the Arabs are doing now, a lot of them, the Palestinians, establishing without reservation that the Jews have an historic attachment to the land of Israel, unlike any other people to any other land in history. But specifically, I'm taping this during the Torah portion of matot, which occurs towards the end of the book of Numbers, Bamidbar, and there's a couple of stories in there that are very relevant to this. First of all, I'm going to ask you a question. If you know the Torah at all, there were 12 spies, you may know, one from each tribe, who went to spy out the land of Israel in the portion called Shalachacha. And you may know, too, that 10 of them came back and gave a report that even though the land was great, there were giants there, and they said, quote, "We look like grasshoppers in our own eyes," unquote, and therefore we can't conquer the land. Well, the people were very disheartened when they heard this, and God said, well, the whole generation then will have to march around until they die, except for the 2 that came back out of the 12 and gave positive reports. Now, by any chance, do you know their names? Now, you may not, but lots and lots of Jews who know a little Bible know the names of the 2 guys, Joshua, who was Moses' lieutenant, and Caleb, ben Yefuneh. So Caleb, or Caleb, and Joshua were the 2 who gave positive reports. Very few people, unless you're a Bible scholar or you're studying for the Bible contest, know the name of the 10 who came back with bad reports. So those people who have faith in God and maintain a positive view of optimistic about the future of the state of Israel and the land of Israel, those names will be remembered in history because that's going to endure. Now, the specific story here in Parshat Matot is that when they finally get to the border, 2.5 of the tribes, Reuven, Gad, and half of Manasseh, say to Moses, "We'd like to stay on this side of the Jordan. We don't want to go into the land of Israel that's promised by God." And it wasn't, and Moses, of course, made a big stink about it. He was very upset, and he says, this is now in Genesis 30, in Numbers chapter 32. He says, after negotiating with them, and basically God saying, tell them they can if they send troops, Moses said unto them, the children of God and Reuben, shall your brethren go to war, and shall you sit here? Wherefore have you turned your hearts away from the children of Israel, and going over into the land which the Lord hath given them? And so Moses at first is very upset. Will you stay here and your brethren go to war? Have you no responsibility to your fellow Jews who are settling the land of Israel? You could just make the same statement today. And then he talks about how the whole generation had to march around in the desert, and they said to him finally, okay, we will settle here, but we will send troops for you and do that. And Moses said to them in verse 20, if you do this thing, you shall arm yourselves to go before the Lord to war, and every armed man of you shall pass over the Jordan before the Lord until he has driven his enemies out, and the land be subdued, and this land for you shall be a possession. But if you do not do this, you have sinned against the Lord, and know if your sin, which will find you. And that's what happened. They sent their soldiers over. Now, Israel's not asking for our soldiers, for us to go fight. Although they'd love for you to make aliyah and go help them that way. But there are many other ways that we can help them as they go to war. I mean, they're constantly under siege. They're producing one of the greatest countries in the history of humankind, despite that siege. And what they want from us, Jew or Gentile, is to support their effort. And this is the Torah basis of the spiritual Zionism that's so key to the vitality of the world. As the Torah says, those who bless Israel will be blessed. And I think one of the central reasons that America has been blessed is because of its outstanding historic support for Zionism. That the way the powers work in the universe is that those who stand with Israel will be blessed. And it's interesting that these are the 2 closest allies in the world. There's no country that votes with the United States more often in the United Nations, that's been more supportive of the United States, that shares more in value in common with the United States, and it all stems from the Torah portion and some of the basis of Parshat Matot, where these 2.5 tribes who represent us, the Jews and Gentiles who choose to live in the diaspora, who still feel they have a commitment and responsibility to help settle the land of Israel. Shalom.